after more than 20 years in the MMA game, is there some kind of relief in a way? Saying, okay, that part of my life is now behind me?
Uh, no, I wouldn't say there's relief. I would say there's like, oh crap, like, what's next? Because I've been doing this for so long. What, like, it's just weird to all of a sudden retire and from doing what you're doing and that you love to do and like put it down. But I'm gonna find other things to do. I'm whole anyways, so it's just like, but it's definitely different. It's like, oh shoot, like what are you gonna do? Like those types of things. Even though there's stuff that I'm gonna do, it's just been so long that I've been focused on one thing, which is training and fighting. And
I first saw you in Strikeforce at that time.
Yep.
And remember the guy with the hair and everything. When you would look at footage from that time, do you see kind of seem that it's not the same person? It's not the same Robbie Lawler?
Yeah, I've grown so much. I'm refined now. It was like I was the young, up and coming kid who was trying to figure it out and doing the best he could. It was definitely different. It was just part of my evolution as a fighter.
How do you see your first fight in the UFC was in UFC 37, if I'm not mistaken, 2002. So you had the Strikeforce run also in the middle of that. But how do you see the evolution of MMA and the UFC since that time? I mean, we were not broadcasting, it was banned in France. You see how many journalists there are right
Yep.
now. It's not the same business at all that 20 years ago. How do you see that evolution?
Yeah, no, I see the evolution. It wasn't even sanctioned in all the states at that time. So like when I first started fighting, we were still trying to promote the sport, trying to be good ambassadors for the sport, showing respect, which is good because that's actually how I continue to carry my career, with respect for the sport, respect for the fighters, and that's kind of how everyone was. It was like we have to do something bigger than us. It's like we're trying to build this. We can't. Not that I would have changed anything anyways, because this is who I am, but it was like we're trying to build this sport to get it in different countries, get it in different states so that it could be sanctioned, which would create more revenue for fighters. And the sport's grown huge. I mean, the UFC champions at that time when I first started weren't making very much money, and the kind of cars they were driving aren't the kind of cars they're driving today. It's just a lot of money, a lot more eyes on it. It's worldwide. It's an amazing sport. It's amazing to be a part of the evolution and the growth of the sport. When I first signed with the UFC, I'm pretty sure there was only 5 people in the UFC office. There was one was a security guard. So it shows you how small the organization was, and it's huge now.
Any regret sometime in the way that you say, man, if I had started my career 15 years, if I was born 15 years later, I would have been in the big time company that is right now?
No, I had no regrets. I love what I've done in this life and in this career with the UFC and all these organizations. I've been doing this for a long time, and no regrets because I've always given it my all, and I'm happy with who I am today.
You won the welterweight title against Johnny Hendricks, UFC 181, if I'm not
Yep.
mistaken. Best memory of your career that night?
Yeah, no, that was a good memory. It was like one of those that was like I had a goal, and it was the accomplishment that could never be taken away from me, and but most importantly, it was when I went back to the gym and you really think about it, it was like how many people actually helped me to get to where I was and win that title. I wasn't just one man in there. I was doing this for so many training partners, so many coaches who helped me and developed me as a fighter. So it was definitely bigger than just me winning a fight.
You went pretty much fought everyone in that division, but you never fought George and never fought Kamaru Usman,
Yep.
which are the two of the biggest names in
Yep.
that division in their history. Is it fight that you would have wanted to have against those top guys?
Yeah, different eras, different times. Definitely you want to fight the best, but when I was coming up for the UFC or watching the UFC, George was one of the big names, so I was always watching him, wondering when I was going to get to fight him, but never did. And it is what it is. I mean, he has an amazing career. I'm happy with my career, and it is. I'm good.
And what would have happened? You against George Prime.
Yeah, it's never know, right? We'll never know.
And about your career, the last thing I wanted to talk about was also obviously the Rory McDonald fight that is introduced in the Hall of Fame, UFC 189. What a wow, what a memory. It was incredible. What are your memories of that night? The first thing that pops up?
Yeah, it's just a back and forth battle. I was the best I've ever been at that time. I was sharp. I was doing really well until I wasn't. He landed a good kick, kind of wobbled me. But I was there mentally, so I was talking to Big John, making sure he wasn't stopping the fight, and just trying to get back. He ended up cutting my lip, maybe cutting my head, and just persevering and just pushing through and just making sure I got the W that night. And Rory showed a lot of heart in that fight, and that's why it's a great fight. It's not because I won or this or that. It takes two to get into this and put on an amazing fight, and his team did a great job with him, and he did an amazing job against me, so it was a battle.
Best memory as a fighter? What is your best memory?
Of the fight?
No, of your career. What is your best memory?
I don't know. They're all very important. There wasn't one that stood out. They were all important, win or loss. It was just kind of all learning experiences to get to where I am today.
Oh, do you enjoy watching MMA?
I actually don't watch too much MMA. I actually watch soccer more, just because I've been doing this for so long. So I watch whoever's on, but it's so many fights week in and week out.
What do you think of the current champion, Leon Edwards, at 170? The current 170 champion, Leon Edwards. What do you think of him?
Oh, he's good. Very technical, really good fighter.
An emotional win and an extraordinary win for the last fight of your career. What were you thinking? What was in your head when you took that knee after the win and you were really emotional?
It was gratitude for all the fans and my career, and just kind of embracing the moment of this is over, and just appreciation for myself and the fans and everything that I put in. It was I'm totally grateful and blessed for what I was able to accomplish and do this for so long, and it's a lot for me.
And I know I already saw that you're not someone that's going look backward during your career.
Yeah.
Always looking forward.
Yeah.
What was it to watch all those highlights in the big screen?
It's crazy because I don't see those things. It's just I laughed at a couple of them, just remembering that young crazy kid who's just not quite as refined, just those things, just trying to figure it out. And it was fun to see, and I had a couple of moments where I chuckled, and just crazy long career with a lot of good moments.
It made you also more realize that this is the end, seeing all those.
Yeah, it's just highlights that I'm watching, and just crazy to see that. And I remember all the people who helped me. It's you see all those fights and you see all those highlights, and you don't realize how many training partners helped me, how many coaches sharpened those skills and allowed me to compete at this level for so long. And it's just a blessing, and I'm grateful, and that's what that was. I just was taking a moment.
You were told on the microphone, you told that it was the first day that you felt good in the last few weeks. Can you tell us about that? You were not
sometimes your body doesn't feel good. And guess what? You still have to figure it out. But I knew from doing this for so long that I only need to feel good on one night, which is tonight, and I did. So it was all right, let's figure out how to get to that night and make sure my body's feeling sharp. And at about 2:30, I'm gonna take a nap, feeling a little tired. Then a thought popped in my head, a positive thought popped in my head, and I'm all right, got up, and we're moving forward now. So it was just the right moment, and then my body felt good. Other than my bicep was bothering me, but everything felt good. My footwork was good, my timing was good, and I felt strong.
Can you tell us about that TKO? That's one of the greatest highlights of your career. That's one of the greatest KO.
Yeah, it was just he was hit him with too many shots in a row. I went uppercut, kind of grazed him a little bit, chin, temple area, Then he went to clinch me, and then it was just like lefts, 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 up, over, and landed a good shot on his temple, and that was it.
Where you can kind of in a zone, you know, when it's everything is a little slower because you control everything.
Yeah, well, my footwork was really good, and then like as soon as he clinched me, I saw holes. I saw holes to punch and get my hands going. And really, what he was doing was just clinching. And when he did that, I just stayed busy. He might have been hurt from that first shot, the first uppercut. So you never know what happens. So I just stayed on him, and those punches were heavy.
Two last questions, Robbie. What will you miss the most?
I think it's that walk, and I think it's the preparation for being sharp and good for one day. That Saturday night, trying to get out there, figure out and not only that, is if you don't feel great, guess what? You still have to try to figure it out. So that whole process of trying to be good on that day and trying to get the job done for one important night or fight.
Are there some things that you couldn't do during your career that now you're gonna be able to do in your life?
Nah, I've lived an awesome life. I mean, travel a little bit more, but I mean, I've got to do a whole bunch of stuff because of this sport, and I'm going to continue to stay healthy and work out. This is a way of life. That's why I've been able to do this for so long, because I enjoy it. This isn't like something I don't enjoy. I go out there, I'm like, oh, I want to go work out. I want to diet. I want to take care of my body. I want to continue to sharpen myself, sharpen my mind, sharpen those things, and I'm going to keep doing it.
We're still gonna see you. You will still be around the UFC and the MMA?
Yeah, I'll still be around the UFC. I'm coaching. I have a gym, Killcliff FC, and just like a lot of really good fighters, high-level fighters who are going to do some really good things in UFC and other organizations. So I'm going to give back to the sport that's given so much to me, and that's what sport's all about. It's like I didn't do all this on my own. I didn't learn all these moves and these techniques to not give back and give these to others. And somebody helped me get all these techniques, so I'm going to give back.
And last question, you started 20 years ago in the UFC, and the evolution of the sport is incredible since then. If you had told that kid at that age that you would have your final fight on ABC, that's amazing. Where will the UFC and the MMA be in 20 years?
From now?
Yeah.
Sky's the limit. I mean, this sport's growing so fast. Fighters are getting so much better. I see the business growing, and the UFC is doing a good job of spearheading that. It's a lot of people training around the world for a sport that I love so much and that has given so much to me, and I just see it continuing to grow and continue to get better.